Why, good morning. I'm Ron Juckett. It's time for the DoDCast Postgame show for this Sunday morning, the 12th, 13th, whatever the hell it is, day of August 2017. If you're with us, this is, of course, the first of a de facto triple header. My goodness, triple header. The focus of this is primarily going to be on what's going on with Bryce Harper. If you watch, by the way, they did win tonight, 3-1. Edward Jackson going 6 strong innings. We'll get to that in a second. Most of the show will be dedicated will deal with Bryce Harper. First time up on a wet base path, his left foot kind of skidded over the bag at first, and his knee did things it shouldn't have done. And so we're waiting now to see just how bad that is. And was this an ACL tear? Was it just a hyperextension? We really don't know, despite people trying to, and I got caught doing this too, with lots of fake Ken Rosenthal accounts. So I will try to keep an eye on the chat, but I'm also trying to keep an eye on Twitter so we can get this out there as fast as possible. So let's quickly go through the totals. Then a 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for the Giants. San Francisco falls to 46-71. Washington goes to 69-45. 3 runs, 11 hits, and 1 error. Jackson with a win. Ejax goes to 3-2. Jeff Smarja takes a loss. He goes to 7-12. He threw 120 pitches tonight. And Sean Doolittle picks up his 11th save. Wilmer Defoe 2 for 4 tonight. Adam Linden 3 for 3. I'll give you the pitching lines for Washington. Jackson, 6 innings, 5 hits. A run hit was earned. He walked 2 and struck out 5. Allowed 1 home run. Brandon Kinsler with a hold is second. Goes an inning, allows a hit. Ryan Madsen picks up his 19th hold of the year. Goes an inning and allows a hit. And Sean Doolittle, 1 inning and struck out, clean inning and struck out 2. 100 pitches for Ejax for 58 strikes. Kinsler, 12 pitches for 7 strikes. And Madsen, 17 pitches for 12 strikes. And Doolittle, 12 pitches for 9 strikes. So that pretty much gets you through the box scores. So overall, a good win on a very tough night. Now, Major League Baseball had the decision on when to start the game or whether to play the game at all. Once the rain finally subsided, we had a 10:05 first pitches, which is why I'm up at 20 after 1 in the morning. And they made, because it wasn't supposed to rain, they made the decision to go ahead and play. But the bases were wet. And for the second time in about a year, the Nats are potentially losing a player long term because someone snapped an ACL on wet hard dirt. We don't know. They're obviously not going to be able to tell us much tonight. He will go on the disabled list. I imagine at this point it's going to be Michael A. Taylor that will get called up. He was doing a rehab assignment. Taylor did have a couple hits today. He has struggled. I believe Ricky Keeler told me he was 7 for 45 on his rehab assignment, but we really now don't have much of a choice, even though Andrew Stevenson made a very good play in center field tonight. In fact, the defense was very good all the way around. 2 good plays by Daniel Murphy. Anthony Rendon crawled over the tarp. And Wilmer Defoe ran from his side to short, past second, and made a jump throw like you would see Trey Turner do to get it out. So overall, a good effort for the Nats tonight. But we're all on pins and needles to see if there's any news specifically regarding Bryce Harper. And we go through the scoreboard because while we wait, because everything else is over now in baseball. National League scores that matter. Phillies beat the Mets 3-1. Milwaukee beat Cincinnati 6-5 in 10 innings. Miami beat Colorado 4-3. St. Louis is now in first place in the National League Central as they beat Atlanta 6-5. Arizona down Chicago tonight 6-2. Baltimore beat Oakland 12-5. And the Dodgers have won their 82nd game of the year, 6-3 this time over San Diego. Washington has the second best record in the National League and is 14 games behind the Dodgers. So you can argue, make it whether or not they should have played this game at all. The game really won't mean anything. Won't mean anything. Because unless it's for seeding, but you're also assuming at this point that whoever wins the National League Central is going to catch the Nats in the standings, because the Nats aren't going to catch the Dodgers. The Dodgers will be the number one team. So because there's a doubleheader tomorrow, they wanted to get this one in tonight. Oh, by the way, the Nats magic number is now 34. That's kind of weird. Really, they were going to play. They're still going to play 2 tomorrow. The weather's supposed to be pretty nice for it, and common sense would have told you that by the time that you get this started at 10 o'clock, that maybe you should just cancel the game because you had waited 3 hours. The field was wet. It rained hard. I mean, it rained so hard tonight in Washington that there was a leak in the roof at what was the phone booth, now the Capital One Center, I believe that's what they're calling that place. And there was so much rain that the DC United had to postpone their game at RFK tonight because everything flooded down there. So just one of those things that it's not, I mean, the game really didn't matter. I mean, they all count to some degree, of course, but the game didn't matter. If they had not made this one up, it wouldn't hurt anyone. And so Bryce Harper, he singled and made that lunging step towards first that he does, and his foot kind of popped on the bag, and then his knee popped, and it just wasn't very good. So, someone asked earlier in the game and on the Twitter chat whether or not the players' union would sue. And I don't think there's a lawsuit there. But just a very tough night overall despite the win. Let's see if you have anything to say. So I don't think we're going to hear much of anything tonight, but it's a costly win. I mean, I can't imagine even if it's just a hyperextension, and that really is the best possible scenario for Harper at this point. It's just a hyperextension and a 10-day trip to the disabled list. Okay, here's the first quotes from Dusty on Harper. We just ask for prayers that it's not serious. That's the quote. Says he will go for an MRI and will know more tomorrow. Remember, the doubleheader is 1 and 7 tomorrow. Don't know if we will know anything before the first game. Hopefully we'll know something between the games. And at this point, I plan on we don't normally do a DoDCast between games and a doubleheader, but I think with this we probably will. And then Ricky will be with you for the nightcap if we do. So that's the plan. So that's the first quote that we have. We just ask for prayers that it's not serious. So we don't really know much tonight, and we didn't kind of expect that we would. It's a 3-1 win. The offense kind of coalescing around. Good to see Murphy reach base multiple times, and Zimmerman. And Adam Lind is just right now on house of fire. And how about Wilmer Defoe? A couple base hits tonight and a couple good defensive plays. Ricky Keeler has something up on the site tonight if you want to read something on the Harper injury, and we will have coverage as warranted tomorrow or when you wake up in the morning on what's going to happen with Bryce Harper. But the news is no news tonight by the looks of it. Yeah, just the quote. Just the quote. So no news tonight for there. So we'll have, like I said, Ricky wrote something up already. Drew was at the game tonight. He will give his take for tomorrow. And, of course, all right, so Byron Kerr says that it's at least a hyperextended his knee, and the MRI is Sunday. So that's the news. Bryce Harper has hyperextended his knee, and we won't know the severity of whether anything was torn until an MRI tomorrow. Whether that's before the doubleheader starts or after remains to be seen. So that pretty much will do it on this melancholy note. I'm Ron Juckett for the staff of District on Deck. You can give this video a like, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at District on Deck. Until tomorrow, we'll talk to you then. Have a good night.